About 13 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with leukemia, and that's where the story starts. When we came from Russia to America, the goal was to get my father on his feet as a medical provider so that my mom could become a math educator, and that was thrown completely out the window when my mom's health began to deteriorate. She had a fairly longer battle with cancer given the fact that she had CLL, which is a type of chronic cancer that usually people live to old age with. But unfortunately, she had a very advanced case of CLL where she started experiencing the negative symptoms much quicker and to a higher degree. So much so that we needed to actually fly in her brother from Russia to attempt a bone marrow transplant. And part of the treatment is essentially wiping out my mom's immune system. And during that time is when she started having the worst complications. My sister called me in the middle of the night, woke me up. I was sleeping at my girlfriend's house at the time, and said that, mom's not doing well. She's in the ICU. We should go see her as soon as possible. And it was like 4 a.m. at the time. I remember just a few days before, I picked her up on my car at the cancer hospital here, Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. And when I picked her up, the doctor was kind of unsure about sending her home because she fell. And she said she fell just because she's weak from the treatment. And the doctor said, look, I'm comfortable sending you with her because your father's a physician, he'll watch over her, but I want to shake your hand. And I said, why? He said, because I think we've successfully cured her of cancer. There's no more cancer. She's officially in remission. And that was great news. So I knew she wasn't well, but I was happy on one hand. So I got her in the car, we drove home. Just a few short days later, as I was trying to study and do all this stuff, she ended up getting really sick. When I went to school that day, I was very distracted. My mind was elsewhere. I took all the tests, rushed to the hospital to see what was going on. And she was just in really bad shape. My father and my sister were really optimistic. They were saying, rub her feet, warm up her hands. That's what she needs right now. Talk to her, she can hear us. And being a med student and sort of understanding the situation a little bit, to me, she looked like she was in a really bad place. She was on multiple antibiotics. She was on a medication called a pressor, which is an artificial adrenaline of sorts that helps boost blood pressure in someone going through shock. She already had a weakened immune system because of chemotherapy, and she had a stem cell transplant. I knew this wasn't going well, and she obviously throughout the day just decompensated and ended up coding. They called the code blue, her heart stopped. All the residents ran in and started doing chest compressions. And I'm very passionate about chest compressions. We say it on the channel. But there's a time where you do chest compressions and you save someone's life and you do hands-only CPR. And there's time when you don't. And the time you don't do that is when it's futile. And that's obviously a difficult decision to make. Ideally, you make that with the help of a medical professional, with loved ones nearby. I saw that what was going on was futile. There was no way they were going to bring her back. They were breaking her ribs, causing internal bleeding. She was already incredibly frail going into this. And whenever you have cardiac arrest, meaning someone's heart stops, you're only going to get worse, even if you come back. And I actually asked the residents to stop doing chest compressions. And my father was initially hesitant about that, and I had to hug him and calm him down and explain that this is the right thing to do. The ICU doctor and her cancer doctor were both there. They agreed, they stopped doing chest compressions, and it's not easy. Being in a situation where you're hearing all these alarms and heavy moments, it's your loved one there, and you're making this terrible decision of having to stop the resuscitation. My father and I, we hugged. My sister was there. We all hugged and we spent time together just reflecting on what was going on. It didn't seem real, though, in the moment. It was tough. I think it made me a better doctor in that it changed my level of empathy to understand what someone's going through when they're losing a loved one, when they don't know what's going on. They have to say, stop doing chest compressions. I learned what it's like to be a part of that system. But I also learned what it's like to lose a family member early on. And people talk about it, but it's something different when it happens to you. There was a little bit of a unique spin to this story. I knew my father was going to be devastated, obviously. Him and my mom actually had a trip planned to Florida on vacation just like a week later. And he said he actually did want to go on vacation and spend some time alone and be alone. And I thought that was acceptable and probably best for him in that moment. And I thought, well, you know what? We always talked about getting a dog. And the reason why we didn't get a dog was because we were worried that my mom was immunocompromised and God forbid she got sick from the dog. And I said, you know what? Let me surprise my dad. I'm gonna get him a dog, specifically a Siberian Husky, in kind of memory of my mom, to have a bright spot in this very dark time. And I'll surprise him with the dog right before he leaves on his trip, so that when he comes back from his trip, she's a little bit more well-trained. I'll spend the time to train her on my break from med school. A huge snowstorm happened immediately after my mom's funeral. A ton of snow fell, 20 inches. I had an Audi TTS back then, which is a really small car. It is all-wheel drive, so I thought I would be good. And I was gonna go and drive to get this dog. I was able to clear my driveway with my friend Mike, who came over. As we pull out onto my block, the car gets stuck in the middle of the street. And now my dad hears the tires skidding, so he comes outside. He goes, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Yelling at me in Russian. He's like, "Why are you driving the car?" And I don't want to say, "Hey, I'm going to surprise you to get a dog," and all this stuff. So I said the first thing that came to my mind was, "Oh, we just wanted to go for a ride in the snow." And he rightfully says, "Your mom just passed and you're going to go for a ride in the snow? Like, how selfish are you? What's wrong with you?" And I felt terrible because I didn't want to upset him, but I also didn't want to spoil what I was doing. So I said, why don't I ask some people that have an SUV? My girlfriend at the time, her family had an SUV, a Nissan Rogue. Let me borrow their car. Drove, got Roxy, who essentially helped me start this channel, brought her home. She was wearing this little yellow sort of collar. It was more of a bow. And I come in and my dad's like lost. And he's like, "Oh, whose dog is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, Dad, I got this for us to remember Mom and maybe use this as a positive outlet." He breaks out in tears. He turns into like almost a child, which I've never seen from my dad, because not only is he crying, he's offended, he's sad, he's saying he doesn't like this breed. He said, "We're not ready. We need some time to process your mom's passing." He's just kind of all over the place. And Roxy's just sitting there so cute, staring at him. She has these little Batman raccoon eyes. He sees how she's reacting and he's like, "Why is she being so nice?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I think she likes you." And he like calls her over, she comes over, starts licking him. And I've never seen a human fall in love faster. He was instantly like, "Oh, well, what's her name?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't have a name for her. I thought me and you could come up with a name together." So for the next hour, him and I went on websites looking at female dog names. And we're like, "Look at her eyes, she's definitely a Roxy." That's how Roxy became a member of our family. And now, as some of you may know, Roxy's a tripod member of our family, still living strong. And although she lost a leg to a cancer, she's still hobbling along and being very happy on walks with my dad. But that's a little known story of how Roxy came into our life during a very dark time of med school. I talked about my mom, I talked about Roxy, but I don't know if you've met my sister. Here's a video of me and my sister chatting and talking about how well she knows me. As always, stay happy and healthy, and say I love you to your loved ones.